speak very highly of your father, right? But
Yes.
I have to imagine that at some points, if he's your coach, there were some very strained times, right? You didn't always get along, or you've always just respected the hell out of him, or because Ramsey's my coach and he's an asshole.
I am not his coach.
He's an asshole. I get mad at him all the time.
I don't even
He
show up to
is
training anymore. I can't even handle it, dude. I passed him off to my other trainers.
But that's what
I
I'm
was like,
saying.
I'll go hang out with you. We're friends. But I was like, I'm not going to be your coach.
I'm sure he demanded a lot, and he was harder on you because you're his daughter. Was there ever like you wanted to quit, or you didn't want to be a part of that anymore, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe one time, he would go. The hardest part was just he would always go so hard at me. You know what I mean? Like he would never give me like a single position, or submission, nothing. I think the first time I submitted him was after I was a black belt.
Hell
yeah.
It was like, did he go home every day and said, I'm out of here. This bullshit.
No,
that would be a rough one.
I mean, he was happy, of course.
Proud,
I was like, man, but I mean, I caught him in like a toe hold, So it was like, man, who's toe holding your dad? It was like,
how old were you when you caught him? Like,
yeah, I was already a black belt, so I was like maybe 19, 20.
Yeah.
So
you probably went home just, oh my God.
And I would get like, there would be times I'd get so mad and just kind of like cry like in training, like, man, you don't let me do any, like for me, I felt like he was just using his strength and and you start to get better brown, black, and you're like, man, you feel technically you're there, but you're not doing anything, But once I'm fighting like the girls, it's just like whoop, whoop, so much easier.
They feel so easy.
So it's like today
you're grateful that you get there.
Yeah, it was just that kind of tough pushing.
I saw this thing and it was talking about great, especially female athletes like Serena Williams and all these other like some other basketball players, yourself, Ronda Rousey. You see a lot of it, and they a lot of people from the outside are like, wow, that's a crazy lifestyle. I can't believe they took away this. But then like you talk to the actual athletes and they're like, no, I had direction my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, what's your opinion about it? Like, do you feel like you actually had a better childhood than most people? And
when you have a child, are you going to do something differently?
Yeah, like so my daughter's 4, I'm divorced.
You have a 4-year-old too?
Yeah,
oh, awesome, me too.
Yeah, it's so sick. And so her father, like our style, parenting styles, it's so different, So like in my mind, that idea of, kind of raising the way I was raised, like in the gym and training and kind of like, not that it's okay to hit, like the teacher called us the other day, well not called, but had that, that Mo was doing like face-offs at school and kind of stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
And I'm kind of like,
I get it,
you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you don't want them to think that that's okay, but in our culture, it's like, she goes to my fights, like that. She knows that it's a sport, she knows
and
it's
they
my job.
See it all the time,
you know what I mean?
And you watch it at home.
Yeah, and then it's all of a sudden the sign is like, no, that you're a bad parent and this and that. And you're like, this is crazy to me, So, I mean, if I could, I would like to do it similar. That's even why I wanted to have kids and still be competing, because I grew up watching my dad compete. It wasn't like when he was retired and then he's just telling me what to do, and then you're like, well, you don't really think that they did it, when people do that.
Oh, yeah. I never thought my dad was as hard as he was until I went to the Middle East and saw where he was from. I was like, oh.
Right? My dad gets mad. He was like, she thinks I never got in fights and stuff. But I always grew up watching my dad, like, make weight, running, winning, losing, all this shit, competing, crying, injuries, all this things.
I've had
That's kind of cool. Like, I think because, like, myself, as, with my daughter, her mom's not into this world either. But for myself, I'm like, it's actually really important because I want her to see what I do. And like, it's not like I would want her to necessarily be a fighter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If that's something she chose, like, I feel like, did you choose this life or was it like something like...
No, I chose it for sure.
You chose it, right? You were born into it.
Yes.
But then you still had the choice. Yeah.
Right? I mean, I was born in the Jiu-Jitsu lifestyle, if you know the Gracies and stuff, it's like, it's a lifestyle. So like healthy, working, being, all that stuff. But to be this fighter and like, UFC my dad was against it.
I'm against it for my daughter. You too? Okay. All right.
I heard something one time, and it was talking about religion, but I mean, this is basically the same thing as a lifestyle, it's a culture. And it's, people are like, well, you shouldn't teach your kids religion too young because it's, it's brainwashing or whatever it is. But then somebody gave a great example. They said, you teach your child your home address, right? You teach them because you want them to know how to get home, right?
Yeah.
You want to teach them how to do this thing, and then they get to decide if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
And so from a young age, you got the tools to be able to do it, and then you got to make that decision later. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I feel with my own kids. Is I want to give them the things that I know are true and good,
Yeah.
and then they can make those decisions for themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it feels what it's like.
Yeah, 100%, totally. And but it's so weird. It's like, man, if we had kids, we'd want them to live our life.
Yeah.
You know, not our life.
The
We
good
want
things,
the
not
way
bad
we
things.
are, the way we believe. You know, of course, that would be like, you know, if my beliefs and everything like that. I hope my daughter will follow it because that's what I'm gonna teach her.
Yeah.
But if she decides to, I don't know, be a doctor or anything else, or you know, I hope she stays in the values that I believe. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know your values and I don't know your
Yeah.
but I trust in my values.
Of course.
I want my kid to be in my
The
values,
things
right?
that got you safely to where you are now, you want your kids
Yeah.
to